Chicago was a blue-collar city primarily. It was a city of hard-working people. Skyscrapers, steel mills were here, packing yards were here, farm equipment were here, guys who worked with their hands. So you also have the image of Chicago, tough guy.
Gay liberation was supposed to happen in New York and San Francisco because it's New York and San Francisco and all the stereotypes that go along with that. But it certainly wasn't supposed to happen in the Midwest. It certainly wasn't supposed to happen in a city that is incredibly, in some ways, provincial, as Chicago is.
Here, for a long time, Chicago was dominated by the Democratic machine and the Catholic Church. And those were hierarchical institutions. There was no tradition of grassroots citizen activism.
We're middle of the road as far as we're not New York, so we're not glitzy and glamour, and we're not California, we're not la la la. But even though we're Midwest, we're not hayseed farmers, see? We're a city that's stuck between a lot of farm towns.
Well, when you have that image of tough guy, naturally, you're going to have a fear. Again, that fear of the very tough guys having. Fear of homosexuals. Chicago, of course, with that blue-collar macho image, would lag behind a city like New York or West Coast City.
Since Illinois is one of the few states with no laws against homosexual conduct, some may wonder why gay people are so oppressed in the city of Chicago.
And there was a spokesperson there who said that everyone was under arrest.
We're here because we're gay and we're proud that we are.
People might come out and actually try to harm us. It was a big statement to be made at that time.
Let's get the hell out of here and let's stop being those fucking kind of homosexuals we're hiding and let's get on to Michigan Avenue.
And I remember one night after we'd been drinking someplace, somebody said, let's go to Louis Gage's. So we said, okay, and we all piled into his car and drove there. And the thing I remember most about it was it had a dirt floor.
It originally, I think, had been an auction barn, something for horses or mules or something like that.
They had an old black woman named Georgia Brown who would sit at the piano bar in the back, and I've repeated this many times, I'm sure, but she would sing Cottage for Sale.
Come on now, when you beat the drum this time, you put your heart into it, do you hear?
Oh, no, I'm not going to make a fool of myself. Never again.
Janie, you gotta beat the drums.
Louis Gage's, yeah. We used to go there all night, drink there all night long, because, you know, that's where a lot of people went. It used to be jammed in there, and the windows were boarded up, and when you left the place, I mean, daylight would be hitting you in the eyes. You'd never know it because you'd be drinking all night, and all of a sudden you're getting tired and you go outside and it's daylight. It's time to go home, you know.
Well, Louis Gage, you know, was a great big portly man who, he used to put lipstick on. He was a strange-looking creature, sort of faddish, but with this lipstick on, he was something else.
One morning on a Saturday, I get to the salon, and I start receiving all these weird phone calls. Mr. So-and-so won't be in today. He's ill. By the second one, Mr. So-and-so won't be in today. He's ill. Then I began to smell something. Then I got a phone call from a friend of mine saying to me, I had my own office there behind the reception desk. I got a phone call saying to me, did you know they raided Louis last night? 8 of my hairdressers were in the raid.
You gotta tell them, here we come. Pow, pow. You gotta say, stand up and listen.
I didn't like Louis Gage's bar because it was so dark, and I heard it was a dope den. And I went there one time, that was it. And if you didn't know where that bar was, you'd never know it was there. No sign out in front or nothing.
The paper said that the reason for the raid had something to do with they were looking for drugs.
It was the worst raid we ever had because they totally printed everybody's names and people that never knew, you know. That was sick. That was a sick raid.
I was there just maybe an hour. I don't think it was more than 10 o'clock or something like that at night when all of a sudden you heard all these voices, and you looked around because the bar was crowded. There would have been at least 100 people in the bar, maybe more. And I turned to look, and I saw this fella who turned out to be a cop, but he was in plain clothes. He had an axe, and he was smashing the jukebox, just, you know, smashing it to pieces.
You gotta say it's us. We're here.
I thought, oh, shit, I don't believe it. So it got very quiet, and there was a spokesperson there who said that the place was going to be closed, that everyone was under arrest, and that he would take their names down, et cetera, and that took hours. This was a terrifying experience. I'm sure it was for everybody. I was going to say, at least I know it was for myself, but being in that room, you knew that this was serious, very serious. I remember getting on the bus. They were taking us to jail, and for some reason, the song that I relate to, and I'm not positive, but I think it was that song that Lucille Ball had just done Wildcat in New York, and that was that Hey Look Me Over.
Look me over, lend me an ear, fresh out of Clover, mortgage up to here. But don't pass the plate, folks, don't pass the cup. I figure whenever you're down and out, the only way is up, and I'll be up. I like a rosebud high on the vine. Don't thumb your nose, but take a tip from mine. A little bit short of the
And as terrifying as this whole thing was, I was taken with everybody starting to sing, you know, and try and lift themselves up and get through it. Finally got to the jail. We were put in holding cells. I don't know how many holding cells they had, because there must have been at least maybe 15 or 30 in each cell. Everyone wondering what's going to happen. By this time it was probably 2:30 in the morning, 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. When we first were put in the jail, they took pictures. But everyone was going like this, you know, their hands, whatever. The next day, all of the names were published in the newspaper and their professions, what it was they did. I had my picture on the front page along with a number of others that obviously I wasn't thrilled about, since I work for the police department. That was not something I relished going to work the following day. One of the guys that was in the Louis Gage raid was probably in his early 50s. He was a nice-looking, attractive man, and I remember he had a beautiful white hair, full head of white hair, and I recall being in the cell when he put his face down in his hands and started sobbing, and he said, "What am I going to do? I'm a high school principal. This is my life. This is what I've done for the last 30 years. I don't know what's going to happen to me." And what could you say? Everyone in the cell was thinking the same thing. What's going to happen to us? You know, are we going to lose our jobs, etc. Then, as I mentioned, all our names and our occupations were published in the paper the next day. And I don't recall for certain if it was a few days later or if it was a reasonable amount of time afterwards. But that particular fella committed suicide. Careers were ruined. I mean, they were just totally destroyed. I'll never forget it.
Here to leave the hill.